Hey, yo, whoa. This is another episode of SV's Opinion with your gracious and humble host, Ski. This is the show about everything and nothing at all, while I go over trending topics and what is going on in our world on a daily basis. So, we're going to jump right back into the show, So, I had to take a little break, you guys. Went on vacation, but I am back. Try to be a lot more consistent with these videos. Now, starting the new year. But, like I said, I took a much needed vacation. Working and doing a lot of need to have a reset for the new year. But we are back. So, first thing, like I said, let's jump right into the show. Don't want to take too much time today. Getting into the video. So, my first topic I want to touch on today will be my man, your man, our man, Freaky Zeke has responded to Jim Jones throwing him in the middle of a beef or spat or scat or whatever is going on with him and Cameron. So it sounds like Jimmy and Cam were going back and forth. Cam speaking on Jimmy not having any heat in the building and not being able to pay his rent in the building where they're shooting their podcast, and he's doing a lot of different stuff there. Would say, but where are they shooting the podcast? Let's rap about it, right? So Cam and Jimmy had a back and forth. Cam clowning them, saying you ain't got no heat. You know, if you ain't got no heat, I could pay the bill. You know how Cam do. So why I say Freaky Zeke is because for some reason Freaky caught a stray. Right? He gave Freaky a stray by saying Freaky is soft. So we saw a couple months back when Cam was asked the question of who he feels the toughest, Dipset member. And he said by far it is our man, Ricky Zeke, which I would have to agree with. I saw a video of Ricky getting shot, basically jumped on, hit by a car, and then get up and walk away, right? So I'm gonna say that man is tough as nails, right? I would have to agree with that. Like, he's hard to kill. That nigga's the real diehard, right? So Jones throws Zeke in there, calls Zeke soft. I don't know if you guys know Freaky Zeke, but Freaky Zeke is also one of the most entertaining Dipset members, right? So Zeke he goes live to respond to John. Beat nigga. What you talking about? What you talking about? You know, y'all, I know y'all see the video. The man is hilarious. So he clowns John. And he said, it's warm over here, and you ain't got no heat. You need some scarf. You need a blanket. Y'all need to get it together. He said that he's disappointed in the moves that Jim Jones is making as of now. And I would say it has been kind of, what you would call it, embarrassing to see the way that he's carrying this, right? Like I said before, he embarrassed himself a while ago with the oldest YN, whatever he wanted to be called, or he's saying that they say that that is embarrassing, my brother. You're almost 50. Get it together, like I said before. But Freaky went on a tangent, he felt like Jones disrespected him for no reason, and I'm gonna have to agree with him. I think that Jones did throw Freaky into the situation, and the brother had nothing to do with it. For some reason, it's something personal there, I would say. for him to even bring up Freaky and involve him in this beef or back and forth that him and Cam been having for the past year, I would say now. Which kind of leads me into my next situation. He throws Zeke in there, on Instagram or whatever. He texts, Zeke, you soft too or whatever, right? Well, he go on this other show, and he comes at, oh man, Mr. Dame. So, Jimmy said that Dame hustle history in Harlem. He has no hustle history in Harlem as far as being a big guy, right? So when Jones was explaining the situation, and I don't think nobody really paid attention to this, right? He said that Dame wanted to work for guys like Richard Porter and all of them, right? And they from the West Side. Them being from the East Side, I guess he's saying Dame's from the East Side too. Or the West Side, that was kind of confusing on how he was explaining. He said, but Dame was the East Side dude or whatever, however he said it, and he was the guy that they would give a couple of grams to go to the store, right? And his hustle thing was none of boy. He said those West Side dudes, Dame only looked like a big hustler or somebody who was getting it to the East Side guys, which is them. And he like, we was young, we was little. So yeah, he came through with the little cars and his little jewels and stuff like that. It looked like, he was really doing something to us, but that's, we on the East Side. So basically you were saying that East Side guys wasn't getting money like the West Side guys, and you claim yourself from on the East Side, right? So not only would you clown on the East Side, you clowned yourself. But the situation seems worse because when Dame responded, Dame mentioned, okay, you saying that I was a runner. Please ask somebody who you talking about from back there. He said you could ask Lou Sims. Right now, has Lou Sims ever sent him to the store for anything, right? And as far as his hustle thing, Dame said he never really said that. He said he got money. He did say I was a part of a crew called the Best Style. So I'm going to say we know that he was getting money in some type of way. He never said he was the biggest dude. He said he was a businessman, right? And that is proven. And he went beyond all of those guys as far as the drug game. So if you want to brag on somebody getting paper, I think I would be bragging on Dame. Because, yeah, he was in the street getting money, whatever, a little bit, doing his thing, but he excelled in business, right? In the legal world. He helped build up the, as they say, that can be debated or whatever you want to say, but like I'm gonna say, what, one of the best rappers alive. What's going on? But as they saying, can be debated as one of the best rappers ever do it. So some people, he's number one, and that being Jay-Z. So you can't question his acumen as far as getting money and, what he did coming from a street dude from Harlem to the top of the, game. And I'm going to be all the way honest, right? I just don't really understand, where we go with this, where your star, Jim, comes from him getting Cam the deal and then doing a deal with the diplomats that actually put light on you, right? Nobody knew of you, Jimmy, before Cam signed to the Rock. Oh, excuse me. And who signed Cam to the Rock? Damn. So he gave you your star. You where you are right now today because of Dame Dash. I don't care what nobody said. You can say what you want to say about Dame, right? But he gave all y'all guys a shot. He looked out for all of y'all. Do he have a messed up way of going about how he deal with people? Yeah. His attitude is not well liked. So I'm gonna say, yes, Dame does have, some skewed ways as far as that. The way he talked to people, the way he treat people, it's kind of foul, right? So we can look at that situation and say, okay, you got a point there. But we also have to say, the man did give all of y'all a shot. He pulled y'all out of obscurity. At that point, Cameron was at his lowest. Like, no one was checking for him before he signed with The Rock. He had horse and carriage and SDE, but let's be honest, you guys, nobody was. Like, at that point, and he would even say that. Like, he was stuck in this deal after left Epic, and Epic held on to him, and then they didn't know what to do with him. He said that. He going to the office every day with 100 dudes, making them uncomfortable or whatever. But at the end of the day, to actually solidify getting him out of that deal, Dame had to go in there and talk to those people and strike up some type of deal to where he could sign the Rockefeller and be done with. So they wasn't letting them go as much as you were making them uncomfortable or whatever. It wasn't happening until he walked up in there and they got some type of guarantee from him about recouping their money or whatever monies that they feel like they need to recoup off of you, because they weren't letting you go. And to be honest, I don't think he had the money to even get himself out the deal, right? So, because if he did, why would he need that? But anyway, that's neither here nor there. My point is, Jimmy is doing a lot of things that's very questionable, and it's hurting him. It is really tarnishing his legacy. I kind of always looked at Jim as the loyal copper, like the guy who was willing to go head first, for Dipset. And right now, he just looked corny. It just looked like you're still trying to hold on to something that might be gone, or you should have moved beyond, right? Should be on some business type thing. Second part of this is, Jim said how, Dame was irrelevant, this and that, right? Well, Freaky, I go back in with my man Freaky Sick, right? He released a video of Dame and Jim Jones having a situation, an argument where you got Chrissy out there. I think Dame girl was there too, but it was just really Dame and his girl. And Jones show up, and with a bunch of goons, like 10 guys, and he's trying to get these guys to put hands and feet on Dame. Dame standing out there by himself. He didn't back down. He talked a lot of ish. He went back and forth, and he never back down. He said, Jim, you fight me. You trying to get these dudes to do it, you do it. I don't want to hear that. Like, you give me you give me the fade. You know what I'm saying? And we can handle it. And then when he seen that Jim wasn't going to do it, because Jim, when he said, put the camera down and we could do what we're going to do. Jim wouldn't do that. Hey, you can hear Jim on camera telling the dude, go F him up. Go, telling the dude to mess him up. And like you said, if you watch the video, then you see the guy, he didn't move as quick on actually trying to do something to Dame, because I think he paid attention to the situation too. Like, why do we need to jump on this man when you have a problem with him and he's right here by himself? It's not like it's a bunch of dudes here who got his back and we need to have your back and this and that. It's us and him and his girl, so he's calling y'all, so the dude didn't move. And then he said, you see your man don't want to move or whatever, then you do it. And he said, if you don't, then tell your people to get it popping. He's still standing. He said, if I'm going to get whooped, I'm going to get whooped and I'm going to look good, right? So, like I said, we could clown Dame all day long, In my opinion, do you invite a group of guys to jump you? You know what I'm saying? I would say no. I would try to, I don't want to say try. I would put myself in a situation to where I'm going to even it out. So I may have that yank on me, right? And 10 dudes, I'm sorry, y'all start rushing, people is getting put on the ground, Gunshots go off, people scatter anyway. You give me enough time to move around and get to where I need to get to, but I'm not fighting no 10 dudes, and I'm not inviting 10 dudes to fight me. But that is very admirable of Dame, I would say, as far as him being a man. Is it stupid? Is it kind of screwed? Yes. But the one thing you can't say about this man is that he's not a man, right? You can't say that Dame Dash was a stand-up. And that video actually made Jim Jones look like a sucker. Super sucker. Made it look like he was scared to actually fight Dang. And like he said, you an old dude, get your old A in the back of the building. He said, I ain't going nowhere till y'all until you get off my block, right? Why you couldn't fight the old dude, Jimmy? You know, I heard Mano say, like, I think this has something to do with Jimmy not knowing how to respond to protect himself to all this onslaught or whatever. And he don't know how to fight back in this situation, right? Well, then shut up, Jimmy. Shut up. You don't have to say anything, right? If you don't know how to defend yourself in a situation, he's starting these fights, you got, with saying stuff that he's saying. He asks you a question about Dame, right? You have a problem with Dame, then you want to put Dame on blast, and then you want to lie about something, right? And you said, we was little kids that looked like this stuff, so how do you know what he was doing with Rich Porter? How do you know what he was doing with Lou Sims and them when you was 8 years old, kid? You don't know what his business was. You wasn't on the West Side hustling with Dame, so you couldn't speak on that. So that's what I'm saying. You speaking on half truth, something you might have heard in the streets, but you wasn't with Dame to know if he was the one they were sending to the store or not, right? So stop starting fights that you can't finish. That would be my advice in this situation. That's really all I got to say about that. Like, I can't even feel bad for Jimmy on how he's getting attacked at all angles with this, because you threw Freaky in there when Freaky had nothing to do. But like I said, the situation you and Cam got going on. I think I even heard Freaky one time say he gonna put you in the headlock, or he gonna put Cam in the headlock, or he gonna get y'all in the room, he gonna make y'all talk, right? To get it right. So he didn't choose no side, I think. He still is cool with Cam. He still is cool with you, man. That's a friend. I'm not gonna get involved in what y'all got going on. I get your part, but that has nothing to do with me. But then for you to bring this man into it and then don't know how to respond when he respond back to an insult that you put on him that he had nothing to do with. So I'm gonna say, Jimmy, shut it up, bro. Stop talking, man, because you are putting yourself in situations that you probably shouldn't even be in, and you probably wouldn't be in if you wasn't, running your mouth and still trying to be relevant into something that doesn't mean anything. Focus on your thing. I even said this, a couple of shows back. Like, I think that they was gaining momentum, as far as they was talked about. The Let's Rap About It podcast has been talked about more than, Talk with Flea. And I ain't say it is what it is, because that show is still huge. And it's a sports show. It's not even the same, right? But I'm gonna say it was getting a little bit more traction than Talk with Flea was, And I think you just hurt yourself. So with that being said, I'm gonna let that part go. Moving on to on the speaker. My brother Corey Holcomb, right? I sent the video of some guys speaking on Corey, and saying that Corey sounds like a hater. And this is nothing new. A lot of people feel like the things that Corey be saying puts him in the hater category because of the things that he say. He's very boisterous about, situations that's happening and the reasons why he's not in the position that he should be in, because with the talent that he had, this brother should have been out of the stratosphere. So does Corey mention, backdooria type situations with everything, or it being the reason why he's not where he's supposed to be? And I'm gonna say this. I think the backdooria situation is truth to that. I think that Corey had, you could say, been blocked from things because he didn't, rock with that part of the community, right? And then he ended up saying things that was very boisterous and disrespectful with people from that community who are in positions to be able to block, right? So I'm gonna say that, but I'm not gonna say everything, or that's the reason for his non-rise, right? I'm going to say that Corey is also very controversial because he is a person that is not tied to any entities that can put him in a position to not speak his mind, right? And a lot of his views to a lot of people, they are looked at as negative, or a lot of people disagree with it, especially the ones who are in power, like I said. But I'm going to say that Corey may have, helped, excuse me, may have helped with his not being what I think he should be. I think he is a comedy legend. People could debate me on that. I don't care what you guys saying. As old as y'all saying he is, as much as y'all trying to say his time has passed, Corey does have the show 5150 that, like on this clip that I said, I saw these guys speaking on Corey. What they said, he has 14, 15,000 people tuning in for 2.5, 3 hours every week to his show. Some networks is not even getting, some shows that's on networks is not even getting that type of viewership, right? So when Corey speaks on Netflix deal, right? And I have to say something about that because he did throw that out there. And it does seem like he did kind of throw Charlamagne under the bus within that because of Charlamagne's choice of people who they put on the show, right? Which I'm gonna say it, everybody knows elephant in the room, it's just hilarious, and you know that since she's been there, if anybody paid attention, Corey had been on the Breakfast Club a few times. He hasn't been on the Breakfast Club since she's been on the Breakfast Club. And I think that she has something to do with the reason why he's not on it, right? Corey has been clickbait with some of the stuff that he's been saying. He's been going viral. All last year, he's been going viral. And now with this new thing, he's going viral again, right? So, and the amount of numbers, the viewership and all that, he's saying is not monetized. I'm going to say this. His 5150 Nation is packing out his shows. He is selling out theaters, without the big backing of a network. He don't have a TV show. He has a podcast on YouTube. And then I would see that they even threw some hate in there on, him not having audio, him not doing clips, him not monetizing on Patreon, right? And I hear that because I think that he should be doing those things, right? I think that it would help his podcast, especially with the reach that he has, right? But like I said, I think that he is doing pretty well as far as doing that show with the numbers that he's pulling. And those people are showing up to live shows. Corey Holcomb's main livelihood, you guys, is stand-up comedy. He's in the show. He's on the road, He's doing that. That's his main thing, Last show he was on was Black Jesus. Black Jesus, a lot of people got let go from that show or didn't come back to the show. He lasted until that show ended because he was the standout star in that show, right? That was a Charlie Murphy production and creation that helped him, right? Charlie Murphy was one who he did what he kind of wanted to do too, and he gave opportunities and chances to those that people that didn't look at. But what I'm gonna say is, you can't tell me watching that show if you guys ever watched it, and if you didn't, go check that out. Go check out Black Jesus, and tell me if Corey Holcomb didn't kill that, right? So he's very talented. He should have been on a lot of TV shows if not had his own by now, But that's neither here nor there. But I would say that they calling Corey a hater because they're saying he said, well, if you're going to talk smack about these outlets, then how you going to ask them to throw you a job? He never asked them to throw him a job. He never once said, you guys come give me a deal. He said, with my numbers, with the notoriety, with the with the analytics of his show, why wasn't his show one of the ones that was picked to actually get a deal like that, right? And I would have to ask that question as well, because that's a very successful show. I'm sorry if he's not making any money off of whatever y'all want to say about it, but for him to be able to jump on there every week and pull in over 10,000 viewers to sit there and watch that show for 2 to 3 hours, listening to him go on and on. So you have a lot of people that's actually either agreeable to what he's saying, or they're very entertained by what he's doing on that show. Some of the things on that show is Corey hypocritical. I would say that, yeah, he says things that's contradictory, and he says things that's very controversial. But that's Corey Holcomb. And if you don't like that brand of comedy, you don't like that brand of speech, then you don't have to tune in to a Corey Holcomb show, right? So with that being said, I think that the brothers who, pulled these clips up and done this show on him, about him, and calling him a hater because he said that he don't understand why they didn't look at his show, was kind of skewed. And I don't think that it was right for them to bash him like that. And I don't know how you hating. I mean, as much as y'all want to say this and that about, like, yeah, he said he don't care. You know he cares. And nobody's doing this, not to get recognized or recognition or get to a spot to where they can make a decent enough living or get a bag off this show. This is why they're doing it. This is what I'm trying to build my platform to get to the point to where we there. Right now it's fun. It's just me. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy getting on here, talking with you guys, and going over topics that's going on, and we sit here and I give y'all my take on it. But I eventually plan to get better. I eventually plan for my production to become better, And I want my situation to get to a point to where I can monetize off this. I can, make another living on side of my main, occupation. So nobody's doing this for nothing, right? And can I continue to keep doing this if it doesn't go anywhere? Because I do enjoy doing it, yes. But I'll be lying to you guys to say that I didn't want it to go somewhere, that I didn't want one of these clips to take me viral, to put me in a spot to where I can get monetization here, and beyond here, and make something happen, right? But is that my main goal, right? I would say no, that's not the main goal. But it is one of my goals, at a point I would want and would like for this to get to that point, right? Same thing with him. And he has a major following. He have a lot of things. Like I said, what he says is very controversial, but Corey is very talented. His show is very successful. I just don't get why they wouldn't want that audience consistently every week coming in, tuning in, sitting there, sitting through hours of his show. So I want to say salute to my brother Corey Holcomb. I don't understand the hate. I don't knock you for saying what you said as far as why they didn't, because that's something that I wonder as well, right? Is there some gatekeepers that may be in the way of that? I would say, yeah. Are you partially to blame as well? And I'll also say that. But your blame comes from you being authentic as you are and being yourself, right? And you not being fake, or you not conforming to what you think gonna get you there. You doing the sheer off the hustle and talent, right? And your thing is building, your show been going on for a while, and you consist, like, for the hold on to a show for this long. I just don't get it. I don't get why you wouldn't partnership with him. So I have to answer that. And that's really all I have to say about that with Corey. So my next and last topic of the day for this episode will be Offset being exposed by Selena Powell, right? I have one thing to say about this lady, Selena Powell. I would say she's the new age superhead. I don't know if you guys know who Superhead was. I'm quite sure some of you do who watching the show just by the age demographic and my analytics. I know that a lot of y'all do know who Superhead is. She wrote the book, the Video Vixen, Diaries of a Video Vixen, and she exposed, a lot of entertainers back in the day in hip hop, sports, everything, right? From she having sexual relationships and all those type of things with them, right? Where is Superhead? I would just ask that. She was very entertaining, but I think that her controversy probably stopped her rise as well, but I think she got crazy bags, so I guess I would say you could say that she succeeded in what she set out to do as far as that. And then she opened up the line for a whole lot of other females, even up to this point. I would say Selena Powell is a student of Superhead. So she's been exposing guys. She just exposed Lil Meech a few months back. She's been exposing dudes forever, I don't say forever, but for a while. She's been doing her thing. And then, but the new thing is Offset. So she's got on the show and she went over things and talked about Offset begging her for money, or I'm gonna say begging her for money, but asking her for money so he can gamble. Owing her 15 grand, sleeping with her on a period. It's a number of things that she exposed in this interview about the brother, But she kind of had receipts, you guys, right? She showed the text messages of him actually asking for money and asking her, do she get, this or that or whatever. So she kind of proved that, She got FaceTime video recorded with this man talking about, some say Stefan Diggs, even though he didn't say his name, but who else is he talking about? And my man Wayno said, when the smoke is fire, right? So for him to say, if I ever get a chance to catch up with oh, it's gonna be bad, shoot him in the knee, kidnap him. He said a lot of ill, criminate type things that she did post up that people need to, pay attention to. You just expose him making threats towards this man or someone, So he looked at really suckers for that. But then she even exposed some things about his sexuality, saying that the man is, gay or LGBTQ as well. I didn't look too much into that because I couldn't continue to keep watching her interview with this lady, the Two Girls podcast. I think she was on, but I didn't go too far into that. But that was mentioned as well, and she went further into that. In the comments, if you guys did see the interview with her exposing him, you could put in the comments things that she did say about his sexuality to bring me more up to speed with. I just wanted to touch on this because I feel like the brother Offset, maybe, I'm not going to throw it all away. I'm not going to give it to him. No. But he may be my next candidate for a Goofy of the moment. I think that he's, I'm going to have to watch a little bit more. I don't know. I want to see what his response is to her. But as of now, it's kind of looking like it's leaning that way with the way that she showed receipts. And then she actually have you on recording speaking in a way that grown men at this day and age shouldn't be talking about other grown men if you can't say it. I don't know if you say can't say it to their face, because a lot of times you can't get around people. Like you said, if I could ever catch them, right? So we can't, I can't say you should say it to his face, but I think maybe you should have held that, And you most definitely should have been saying incriminating things about what you would do to somebody, and then something happens to this brother. Guess who they coming to see? That's right, you. So I'm gonna keep an eye on that, you guys. Like I said, he's a strong candidate for Goofy of the Moment. I'm gonna mention another one. I have to look a bit more into his situation. That will be Cam Newton. So Cam Newton is a close runner-up to Offset at this point for Goofy of the Moment. I think I will be rendering a Goofy of the Moment segment, Goofy of the Moment video. I think I may be starting to put those on Instagram. So I want you guys to start. You can migrate over to my Instagram at Sandre_ENT. That is at SANDRE_ENT on Instagram. I think I'm gonna start doing my Goofy of the Moments on Instagram. So go over there if you want to catch those segments. I think I will be having clips of those still that will be available here on YouTube. But if you want to see it live, I think I'm gonna start going live with my Goofy of the Moment, and I think I'm gonna start putting that over there on Instagram. So like I said, again, you guys can follow my Instagram at Sandre_ENT. Again, at SANDRE_ENT. And that has been my show for today, you guys. Another episode of Ski's Opinion in the bag. Catch you guys soon. The next show. This has been another episode of Ski's Opinion. Your boy is out. Peace.